Hello, everyone! Alright, it's time for Traitor's Knot and Storm Fortress review. I was going to do a Traitor's Knot review, but it's like I told you, that video got corrupted, and, I just don't have the energy to go... Because the thing is, with Traitor's Knot, I have my qualms with it to the point where I don't remember enough to the... Well, it's not that I don't remember enough, it's that it was not very high in my ranking of the book so far. Great book, still, don't get me wrong. Worst of a great series is still great, But I wasn't too hot on Traitor's Knot. But after having read Storm Fortress, I just thought, you know what? I'll go ahead and merge these two into one review, and it shouldn't be too bad. So, now, I'm going to give you the spoiler-free section, and that is... Man, so we just came off Peril's Gate. I think Traitor's Knot, and I'm going to talk about this one a little bit first. It suffers a little bit by being right after one of the biggest books in the series. Just the most impactful moments came in Peril's Gate. Just truly brilliant stuff. And then we go to Traitor's Knot, which is not a bad book, but it's not as powerful as some of the moments in Peril's Gate. Obviously, you can't have back-to-back insanely top-of-the-line stuff. This is a more setup book. And, I think of all the books, this may be my least favorite, though it has some amazing moments. If I were to say, if I were to try and rank them, it'd probably be down there, because it doesn't have as many of those huge moments where things are turning so much. And it is a great setup book. Knowing some things that I do now about future things, I see its place. But once I read it, I was a bit iffy on it, because there were some things that were introduced in this book that just kind of felt like they came out of nowhere. And, again, I think Traitor's Knot is a still splendid book, but I did have my qualms. For example, the humor in Traitor's Knot went up by 10. I was laughing my ass off at some of the scenes in this book. I loved some of them, and just... I had a great time. And also, just take a look at the cover. Jenny Wirtz always knocks out with the cover. And this is another stunning, stunning cover. I love this copy. And that's pretty much all I have to say for Traitor's Knot. And then, spoiler-free for Storm Fortress. So, for Storm Fortress, there was such brilliance in this book. I was going to say I can't put it down, but I could put it down. Jenny Wirtz, you gotta take it slowly. Or at least I can't. I cannot take her books quickly. But for Storm Fortress, there were some truly beautiful moments towards the end. And it really continues to push the idea of this is war, this is ugly, and it's never beautiful. The nature of violence is heinous, and what it does is so important for Arathon as a character. It's Storm Fortress, as the climax of this arc, the Alliance of Light, which began in Fugitive Prince and is now ending with Storm Fortress, is now coming to a head. The convictions that Arathon has built up are now being tested, because we have Arathon's arc, but now it's less of what is your choice and more of how can you fulfill your conviction, how can you and your resolve be tested. And it is so well done here. I have this book was phenomenal. Really, it was. And since I can't talk about too much more without going into spoilers, I'm going to have to tell you a lot to scram if you have not read both Traitor's Knot and Storm Fortress. I'm not going to be doing one or the other. I'm doing both of them together. So, 3, 2, 1. We're starting with the both of these books. I don't know what I'm talking about. So, for example, I actually want to touch back on Traitor's Knot. There were some beautiful moments, and it was really hard to talk about them without spoiling. So, my favorite moment in Traitor's Knot was Kavor. The moment Kavor's mother, whose name I cannot remember, I want to say her name was Elaine, but her meeting with Kavor and then Lysayer getting to meet with Kavor were such beautiful moments that I was on the brink of tears. They were, because Kavor is my favorite character, and seeing all these moments, Kavor's character in the previous book as well was just absolutely stunning. I loved Kavor, and I still love Kavor, and every moment we had with him in this book was just beautiful and poignant, and how the meeting with Kavor just sets a chain reaction in Lysayer of, I hate Arathon even more. He has been corrupted. And it's just beautiful. And now, another thing that I want to touch on, and this is my major criticism of the book, it was my major criticism, now not so much. So, the Kralavir being introduced, the necromancy and the necromancers, they were an interesting plot line, but I could not, for the life of me... Hold on, man, I wish I had more books like this. Sorry, I just realized how thick the paper is. Isn't that beautiful? When you have thick pages in a book that, you can't see through it. It's like this nice, solid white. It's just beautiful, you know? Anyways, I'm just gushing about the structure of this book. I don't know why. But so many great moments, but Kralavir and the necromancy, I wasn't too big a fan of, because it felt like they came out of nowhere. Like, first time I think they're mentioned, and maybe they were mentioned earlier, and I'd have to do a reread to figure that out, but with, what's his name? Arathon in Davian's library, he pulls out the one, black tome and looks at necromancy stuff, and that's the first time I remember them being mentioned, and I'm going, I don't remember necromancers ever being mentioned before. Of course, I'm sure there's necromancy here, but that not being something we were told about ahead of time wasn't something I was too big a fan of, because then, I don't know. I just wish I had a little bit more prep time for the necromancy stuff, that we were building them up as an antagonist, as an enemy, just a smidge, a little bit earlier, because I don't really think they felt that important, you know? It was from beginning to end of this book, and then they're defeated, which is interesting. It's an interesting move. I didn't feel that connected to it, and it didn't feel like there were many stakes in it. It didn't feel like we understood the power of the necromancers. Yeah, well, sorry, we did understand the power of the necromancers, actually, with the Lysayer stuff. But I didn't get how they were beaten so easily. I mean, they have so much power. And then Arathon walks in there and he kind of kicks their ass. So I didn't get that. I think that, again, might be my biggest criticism of the series, which says a lot, actually, because it's so small. Just with this one book, it felt like a lot of setup. Arathon coming back and seeing Phelan again was a beautiful moment as well. And yeah, this book had a lot of moments where there was great stuff, and there were a lot of anything to do with the Kralavir towards the end I was not too hot on. I mean, I thought we were getting another end game player here. That's what I was expecting. But, I mean, with the revelation that Lysayer is being toyed with by the necromancers, I loved that, actually. the fact that Lysair is being pulled on and so many different factions are trying to pull on his strings and take him over, but Sulfin of End is his like crutch. He's important there. And Sulfin, did this happen in book 7 or book 8? I don't remember, but the moment of Sulfin of End going to a Sandir and starting to better himself, starting to become his Kaithbane. He is the servant, the liegeman, the sworn liegeman of Lysair to protect him. And now to talk about Storm Fortress, so many great moments here. Man, the moments of, what's it called? Just relief, the beautiful, fantastic, and brilliant moments that we get for Lysair was just splendid. And how Janny Warts did not shy away from the ugliness of a siege. And, like, how everybody's not allowed to have food, and they have to ration everything, and just, it's so ugly. And then the culmination of the Fionn Areth plotline that we've been building up since Fugitive Prince. I think it was Fugitive Prince. I'm not quite sure. Because I think Grand Conspiracy is where the thingamabob happened. And I remember I was going back to look at my notes and like, okay, where's Fionn Areth gonna die? Is he gonna die on sea? That's not happening. Because I think with the sea, Arathon dies with him. That's not happening. I don't believe that. And he dies as a boy. In the fire, okay. He didn't die as a boy. So, we then knew he's either going to die on land, or he's going to die of old age, and the Five Kingdoms will be in darkness forever. So, the funny thing was, I actually put my bets on Fionn Areth will die of old age. I have no idea why, because when looking back on it, it's so obvious he's going to die on land, and Arathon will be betrayed. I just thought that, you know what, that's going to happen. It's going to be the darkness thing, and then Arathon will be the one to try and pull him out of the light. I don't know. Which is the dumbest thing. Arathon, Master of Shadow, going to pull them into the light. Yeah. Smart. Anyways. But Fionn Areth died on land, and then Arathon got betrayed twice by the Cibridian, Parian. I think that's his name. And how he tried to kill Arathon for having abandoned them. And then how... oh, and this was the worst one. It was the moment of Dakar's betrayal. And I mean, it's hard to say if that's a betrayal, you know? Because at the end of the day, Dakar was going, you are going to die? We need to save you. Now, no, I do not understand why on God's green earth you had to have sex to survive. There was so much explanation, and I'm sure it made sense. I don't get it. So I just kind of nodded my head and said, cool. I actually had a rough idea. I think it was like you had to anchor him or something, so you had to pull his spirit back to his body, and in order to do that, he had to be happy or something like that. I don't know. I'm not touching on it too much, but I was confused as hell to a degree. I understood the baseline of it, though, so I guess that counts. And then Lysair's moments. Oh my god, I gotta talk about Lysair's moments. Lysair's moments were stunning. Oh my god. His moments of just beauty. Like him fighting off the attack. Fighting off... what's it called? Damn it! The attack. What? Oh, sorry. Desh the Air's curse. I don't know what I was talking about when I said attack. But him fighting off Desh the Air's curse, finally, for the first time in all the decades that he's had the curse. And the payoff of how in Traitor's Knot we're taught that Elithiel was not made to kill. It was made to do something else. It was of Paravian craft. They do not kill. And then we get here, that revelation. It broke the quartz crystals of the Coriathane. It tore away Deshthier's curse for a moment for Lysair. And it's just, it gives us the scope of the power of that sword. It's not in the strength of it, it's in the more ethereal nature to it. It's in the magic of it all, rather than the make of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna cut down people better. It's not like a sword that's gonna turn on fire and burn people as you try to kill people. No, its purpose is to help stop from killing people, which is interesting, because a sword is made to kill, you know? Maybe you could have made this like a little pole, or who knows? Why make it a sword? Anyways, well, you know what? I take it back. I apologize. You made it a sword because it's badass. So, there you go. There's your answer. And, I mean, Storm Fortress was fantastic. Loved so many moments of it. It took me so long to read the book, though, because I don't know why. I could not bring myself to read this book for the life of me. But anyways, that's about all I have to say. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you have also loved these past two books. And I cannot wait to continue the series. I am wrapping up Initiate's Trial. Then I'll probably take a break. And that's that. All right. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. See you all next time.